was skeptical about making this video, but God strategically told me, Kenosha, there are a lot of people out here. They are discouraged. They are disappointed. Trust me, I'm in the same spot with a lot of people when it comes to certain areas in my life that I thought would have been fulfilled right now. But God is really placing this on my heart about waiting and humble beginnings. So a lot of people look at the jobs that I've obtained. I've worked for major companies, and they're like, how did you do that? How did you get to this job and to that job? I'm here to tell you, I was not qualified. I didn't know anybody. I barely knew how to do the job. There was nobody that I knew to get into these jobs and to maneuver into these jobs. I just knew God. I applied and I knew God, and God placed me there. So a lot of you are trying to figure out, when is my time? When am I going to get to this kind of life? When am I going to get to A, B, C, and D? When is this going to happen for me? Stop trying to figure it out and just live your life and focus on a close relationship with God. That's all that should matter. I don't care what waiting period that you're in. I don't care if you're waiting for your marriage to turn around. I don't care if you're waiting just for a significant other. You're like, well, I'm tired of sitting here. I'm ready for a wife or a husband. I don't care if you're waiting to have a baby. I don't care if you're waiting for a job or to start your business. Your business processing fell through. I don't care if you're waiting for a home. I don't care what you are waiting for. I don't care if you're waiting for your child's behavior to turn around. I don't care if you're just waiting for healing from family. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to be materialistic things. Sometimes you're just waiting for joy. You're waiting for peace. You're waiting for clarity. You're waiting for God to speak to you. You're waiting for a closer relationship with God. I'm just letting you know. Chase after God, and everything you need will already come to you. You won't even be looking for the jobs that you're trying to get. It'll just fall in your inbox and your email. Somebody will come up to you and say, hey, we're hiring at such and such. Go ahead and put in for the job. I'll refer you. That's the way God works. But see, you got to chase him. But nowadays in this generation makes you believe that you got to chase people. You got to do X, Y, Z. I see a lot of people giving dating advice who are not qualified. I'm not trying to be funny in any kind of way. I'm not trying to throw shade. But I see so many people who are single as a dollar bill giving advice and telling you what you have to do to keep your man, what you have to do to stay with your man, or how a man will stay with you. Let me tell you something. The only thing that is going to keep a man is a man who wants to stay with you and wants to be kept. If a man don't want to stay with you and he don't want to keep you, guess what? He's not going to keep you. Stop buying books about how I can keep my man, how I can get him to love me. You got to love you. It's all inside of you. You have to love yourself. You have to know that you deserve more. And maybe it's your time to sit down. Maybe you've had back-to-back disappointments with love, and you're trying to figure it out, and you're sad and you're upset, and you're like, God, why? Why is this not happening for me? Maybe God has another plan for you. Maybe God has another path. Maybe right now you're supposed to be thriving in your career. Don't ever compare your life to anybody else. Don't ever sit up every day and watch other people's social media constantly, and internalize that. Don't compare your life to anybody else. Don't compare, okay, your chapter 3 to somebody else's chapter 32. You don't know what that person went through. You don't know what they had to endure. So focus on your own life and focus on a closer relationship with God. I cannot stress this enough. Everything you ever want is right through God. It's right through a relationship with God. Well, what do you mean by that? I mean spending time with him. I mean getting off that phone call and saying, somebody who calls you, you talk to every day, like it's nothing. And God is like, okay, you haven't even prayed to me today. You haven't read your word. You you haven't even talked to me, but you got time to get on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. You got time to talk to all of your friends. You even got time to play games on your phone. You even got time to respond to text messages, but you haven't even told me thank you for waking me up. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Log off sometimes. Take a fast. Take a break from social media. Log into God. Talk to God. The way you talk to your friends, talk to God. Okay? And not just to receive things, because a lot of people are like, okay, I got to get a close relationship with God and then I can get these things. No, have a true, authentic relationship with Jesus Christ. He's going to show you your path. He's going to show you why you're at, or why you're where you need to be right now, and what he's shaping and molding in you. So don't be discouraged with waiting. In fact, he says it in his word. Okay? God says it right here. And I'm in Bible Gateway. And it's in Isaiah 40. So Isaiah 40. And it is 40:31. That's a popular verse. Isaiah 40:31. And this is the King James Version. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. And they shall walk and not faint. Listen again. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Wait on the Lord. That's all you have to do. Just wait on the Lord. Keep trusting in him. Have the faith that he will see you through. And I know some people may be like, okay, that's easier said than done. Honey, I've been there. Do you know how long I've waited for some of the blessings that I have today? 10, 11, 12 years. And I'm 33, and I'm not lying to you. There are things that I wanted now. I mean, there are things that I wanted back then at 19 and 20 that I have now. Maybe God saw that I was not mentally prepared for that. Maybe God thought, well, she's not going to appreciate it, so I'm going to give her this at 33. And that's what I'm saying. Just wait. Wait on him. Keep pushing. Keep grinding. When you get discouraged, look at yourself in the mirror and recite that verse. Over and over and over and over and over and over again. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. That's the importance of spending time and reading your word. You have to pull out some of those verses when you feel discouraged. You have to put them on Post-it notes. Even if you have to put it on Post-it notes on your mirror, your dashboard in your car, do that. You know, write in a journal. Cry. Sometimes there are some things that I'm waiting on that I'm so frustrated with. There are times that I take to myself and I have emotional days, and I cry and I cry and I cry and I hurt, and I allow myself to feel because I don't understand. And that's okay. You just don't stay there. There's a lot of things that a lot of us are waiting on, but you cannot complain. You have to keep going. You can't sulk in depression. You can't sulk and being sad and being over emotional. You have to keep going. And if anyone knows about disappointment, it's me. I've gotten so close to so many things, especially when it comes to jobs. I've gotten so close to certain positions, and the next thing I know, they're like, oh yes, canceled. We hired somebody else. And I know I did good on the interviews. I've done so many interviews where I did the first step, the second step, the third step, the fourth step. And on the fourth step, they're like, I'm sorry, we canceled the job. We canceled the position. For instance, I had one position in college. This was a government position, and I was interviewed by 3 people at a round table at once. This job was coming in at a certain salaried rate where it was unheard of for a college student. I would have been making stupid money, even more money than I make right now. And I don't make a whole lot of money, just to keep it real. But I'm saying I would have been making money in that position. I know I did good in that interview. I had them laughing. I was joking around. I was dressed to impress. I had a full suit on. I came in there and embodied the part. I researched that position. But guess what? They were like, thank you for your time. I knew I had that job in the bag. They said, we'll call you in 2 to 3 weeks, whatever. And I left. I felt great. I left feeling so good. I believe I was like 20 or 21 at the time. And this was a position for advancement where I could have moved up. I could have continued my journey and would have been great. But long story short, I received a letter stating that the position was canceled. So it was hurtful. But that's not the first time that's happened to me in a job. I've had jobs I interviewed for 2 and 3 and 4 times and 5 times. Okay? And I didn't get hired until the 5th time. But I'm telling you that to say, do not give up. Especially if it is something that God has spoken upon your heart. A lot of times we look at rejection and we look at just disappointment and we give up. We feel so sad. But that's the time when you go in beast mode. That's the time where you work 10 times harder. That's the time where you just keep going. Okay? Do not give up. A lot of times it's just redirection. Those who are great failures always end up becoming great winners. And I'm going to go ahead and quote something that my mom always tells me when I'm discouraged. Sometimes you're going to get what you want later in life. Everyone doesn't get what they want in their 20s. And this is an instant generation. And people will think, or they will have you thinking that because certain things aren't happening for you right now, it's either A, never going to happen for you, or B, you're doing something wrong. I'm here to tell you, none of that is true. I got my first apartment at 30. And for a lot of people, they were getting houses at that time. They were getting homes. So a lot of people would look at me and say, that's behind. That's behind for who? That's only behind for you. But I'm following God's plan. I'm not following anyone on this earth's plan. And I want a lot of you to get that in your head. You're not following JJ's plan. You're not following your friend Chrissy's plan or whoever. You're not following their plan. You're not following your grandmother's plan. You're not following your father's plan. You're not following your mother's plan. You are following God's plan because that's who you have to answer to when all of this is said and done. You need to follow his plan. Because if you get mixed and mingled up with the wrong people, places, and things, it can totally shift your whole life to a different direction, to a point where you are entangled in death and darkness. And you may find a way out and you might not. But God is a forgiving God. He gives you grace, all of that great stuff. But there are a lot of people here on earth that are in certain situations that they've placed themselves in. And that's why they're praying and crying. They're dealing with all of these problems and asking God to bring them out of certain things. And God's like, I never stamped that in the beginning. I never told you to be with this person. I never told you to choose that job. I never told you to buy that house. And I'm here to tell you, you have to listen to what God is saying. And that's why I stress the importance of spending time with him. Spending time. Everyone in this generation wants this, that, and the third right now. But if you're not mentally ready for things, you can destroy it. Do you know you could have the perfect spouse, the perfect family, the perfect job, the perfect salary, a perfect business. You can have a perfect home, a mansion. You can have luxury cars. You can have designer everything and still be unhappy. There's plenty of people you wouldn't even imagine. They're dealing with depression and they have everything that you think is success materialistically, and they are dying on the inside. Why? Because sometimes you're not mentally ready. You're not mentally ready for all of these things that you're asking for. God gives them to you, and boom, you're overwhelmed. So you're going with the motion, but you're really not mentally ready. I've had situations in my life like that as well. So the thing is, you have to get with God and let Him shape and mold you. And please understand, I was grateful for every single rejection. I was grateful for every disappointment. I was grateful for everyone in relationships that I walked out of their life or they walked out of mine. I'm grateful for every job that wasn't for me. I'm grateful for anything that I tried to do and it fell through. It took me a long time to get at this point, but life after is great. Life after is sweet. I am here to tell you that after all of the disappointment, it's a great feeling. It is a great feeling to finally walk into something that you know is for you.